But I get to talk to a lot of groups, and I will not get to see everybody in Richmond County before I leave. So the groups I'm talking to, and I'm telling every one of them, I want to personally thank this community for my support, for the support of me by you folks for the past 36 years, not just the last 12 years. Story, because it's my time now. Y'all are not going to get the question two tonight. I'm going to tell you a story, and folks that have heard me talk have heard this story about me, because I enjoy meeting groups like this, and I'll start talking and I won't shut up. I won't know when to shut up, and nobody wants to hear long speeches, and I understand that, but I'm the world's worst. I speak to a group. That's Fred Russell. He's not going to be here long. I was speaking to a group, and there was a luncheon, and I got to talking, and I wouldn't shut up. I kept talking, and I noticed in the back a guy got up and he left, but it didn't bother me. I kept speaking, and speaking when he came back, and so I finished up, and I walked back there, and I said, "Sir, I noticed while I was speaking, you left. You mind if I ask you where you went?" He said, "I went to get a haircut." "Why didn't you get one before you came?" He said, "I didn't need one before." I'm going to cut mine back some. Like I said, I thought I was going to have more time, and I'm going to use some of this time, and I hope everybody can hear me, but because I've got some very important things here, and I do think they're important, and I think you folks are here for this and want to hear these things. I'm a straight shooter, and everybody in here that knows it, I've never worried about hurting somebody's feelings if I told the truth. When I go home at night, I can go to bed and don't worry about a thing if I've done what I think is the right thing. So I'll hurt some feelings tonight, and I'll make some people happy tonight. But I will not leave making everybody happy, because we got a group in here that wants First Friday to stay. We have a group in here that wants First Friday to go. Now that's not my decision. I don't get to make that decision. That decision is going to be made by merchants. It's going to be made by county government, but it will not be made by the sheriff. What I'm going to do, I'm going to present some numbers that make everybody aware of what's going on, and then the decision will be made. And whatever decision will be made, goodness, without a doubt, the sheriff's office is going to support it. I want to say a little about the history of First Friday, and everybody here probably knows it. We remember when First Friday started in 94, 95, 96, and I don't remember. And it was started for a reason. We want to get folks downtown. That's why it was done. And I can remember a lot of headaches, because when it first started, when vendors got down there, they stayed down there. We had vendors coming in 11:30, 12 at night setting up. And it was causing us, with the sheriff's office, major problems, because the group that came down and wanted to enjoy First Friday with their families, go to the restaurants, go to the bars, or whatever, they were leaving about 9:30 or 10. Of course, and then another element comes in, an element that we don't want downtown. We don't want around our families. We don't. They are not citizens that any of us going to be proud of, but they started coming down. And I had 4 or 5 talks with commission saying, "Look, we've got to set a time. Those vendors have to leave at a certain time," and that was done. They said, 10 o'clock, you're gone. Get out of here. And what they did, they had somebody, and I don't know who. Whoever was in charge down there then, but they had somebody that would, during the week, I guess, give the pass to the vendor. You set up in front of this store, and got permission. They monitored all that. They knew every vendor that was going to be there. Once they got set up, they stayed the whole time until it was over. They didn't go home 20 minutes later. They stayed down there, and they went to every vendor, handling any problems. You're in the wrong place. That music's too loud. Cut it down. And that was who was in charge. Sheriff's office is not in charge of things like that. We don't do that. And we did not have any kind of problem with major crowds for years and years and years. And we're away from that a little bit now. And I would definitely support going back to that. Somebody's in charge. These are the rules, and you will go by them if you're going to be down here. And I think it can. I think it very easily can be done. Now these stats, of course. Let me tell you the areas they're going to cover. And we always say First Friday. The problem on First Friday, everything's First Friday. I guess if you went to church and something happened afterwards, it was at the church. We're wrong by doing that. We don't have problems doing that up to 9:30, 10 o'clock. We don't have them. And but everybody says First Friday, and I know that. The stats I give you, let me tell you the areas they're going to cover. They're going to cover from 4th Street to 13th Street, from the river to Green Street. Now that's a big area. That is a lot of folks, it's a lot of businesses, and it's a lot of stuff that could go on in those areas. What I'm going to give you a total number of criminal cases. I'm not talking we get a call dispatched down there because a barking dog, or we get dispatched because the light's out, or we get dispatched because the alarm's going off. I'm going to give you numbers of criminal calls. Now, that's very important that you understand that. And don't take what I'm saying out of context because you don't know what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is when somebody calls us with a complaint about a crime. That's what I'm talking about. Now, the total number of criminal calls that we received for the first 6 months of this year, not 6 days, but 6 months of this year, was 296 calls. That doesn't even make our radar screen. I know y'all don't know about numbers, especially when we were answering 240,000 a year. Now, out of that, what does that mean, 296 calls? In that whole area, it means we're averaging 49 calls a month of criminal activity, or 1.6 calls a day. Wow, we're really busy with crime. We have been for the last 6 months. Now, 140 of those calls were on Broad Street, and I had to break that up for me, too. We're averaging criminal calls on Broad Street 23 a month. That's not even a call a day that we're getting down there. And of that 296 that I gave you in 6 months, only 7 did we, the Sheriff's Office, classify as a violent crime on Broad Street. And then none of them happened to it First Friday, with the exception of the shooting the other night. Okay. That didn't happen to it First Friday, but that was Friday night. None of these things happened on the first Friday of each month. And guess what kind of calls we were getting out of that 296? 194 of them were calls for theft, theft from an auto, criminal trespass, and simple assaults. Now that is nothing. And I know y'all aren't law enforcement and you don't know if 296 is high, 296 is low. 296 is low. I'm telling you, I can tell you some areas that have 296 a month, but it's not downtown. It's not there. These numbers are accurate. They come when a call is put in, it's put in the computer, I get a printout. You can't finagle with them like some folks will probably accuse of doing because they don't want to hear good numbers. If they were bad numbers, I'd give you bad numbers. I'd give you exactly what I had. But 65% of all the calls were those simple misdemeanor calls I just went over. Let me give you the number, and I got a printout here. I'm going to give you the number of calls on first Friday of each month, January through June. This is on Friday now, all day. Y'all get my picture, don't you? January of this year, first Friday was on the 6th. Well, we answered 2 calls, criminal calls. February, we answered 1. March, we answered 2. We were real busy in April, we answered 3. May, we must have been in the restaurants. We didn't get a criminal call in the month of May on that first Friday. Didn't get a call. A criminal call. June, we got 1. And through the 6th of July, we got 2. One of them being the shooting. So that's what we got on Fridays. And everybody's first Friday's a problem. Then I said, well, break down the number of calls every day during the week for 6 months. Friday was the third least day we had for calls. Only two that we had fewer calls was Tuesday and Thursday. Friday, we didn't have anything. Saturday was the busiest, of course. And I make that to get a point across. It is not what we say. And a couple of us in here tonight, and I've said it so many times. Perception is reality, and it is, and it's wrong, but it is. But we have had, I don't know how many events downtown, and all you folks who work down here know, we have had many events downtown, up to 10,000 people, and we don't have any problems. And I find it hard to believe that we are talking about, half of us maybe, talking about shutting First Friday down after you hear these numbers. Now, like I said, it's not my call. It's going to be y'all's call. Over and over what they think it is reality. And I told that news media was interviewing. I said, let me tell you something. If you got a dog and you call him a rabbit, so every day, one day you'll think he's a rabbit. And that is our problem. Let's call it like it is. If it's terrible and bad, put it out there. But if it's not, don't do it. Right. Cover it every time. The media has an obligation, right, and they should get out there and cover it. But I had major problems with this, and maybe nobody else does. But I had problems with it, and I let it be known. They didn't say anything about crime in Richmond County. It has been down since 2008. Well, I wanted to be down this year, being my last year. Let me pull the stats all up. I pulled the first 6 months. Every category criminally is down through the first 6 months, with the exception of homicides. You can't control homicides. There's nothing you can do about it. You know, if we have 36, my God, the media says, what is going on? My God, beats us up every day. Next year we have 22, we don't hear a word. We don't hear a word about the decrease from 36 to 22. That's something you cannot control. It's homicides, and that is the only category where we have had an increase, and it doesn't mean we'll have one at the end of the year. We don't know what the next 6 months are going to bring. Everybody's answer is more security. That's not it. It is not. I could have put 100 officers down there, and this thing could have happened. Yeah. And I hope everybody's smart enough to realize that. It could have happened. Now, the security has to be down there. We don't know how much crime it does deter by being there. And we know that's a high number, but we don't know what it is. But having 100 officers down there, this thing would have happened. Is it going to happen this next First Friday? Probably not. Or the next 6 months? Probably not. And it may not happen again. But we've got to realize and understand it could happen. It could happen when you go to your car. It can happen when I go to my car. I may go home in just a little bit and somebody's broken into my house. But you know what I do? I call, make a report. Because it can happen. And I think everybody understands that. And I'm gonna shut up in just a minute, but I'm very passionate about these numbers and about what I think. What are we gonna do about it? And everybody up here says, you know, got to work together. That's absolutely correct. I mean, I can't do it all. The merchants can't do it all. These folks can't do it all. But together, absolutely. And we've had things like this happen 100 times. I've been through it 100 times. And we get together, we put our stuff together, we go forward, and we take care of it. That's what we do. And I think that's what needs to be done here. We got to realize now that we live in a very violent society, and I hope everybody understands that. I could come in here and wear the muffins and say, boy, everything is lovely, we're all happy, nothing's going to happen. Something's going to happen. And I'm going to be realistic, and I'll always tell you the truth. And you can believe, say, boy, I sure wish I hadn't listened to him. With all that negativity, it's not negativity, it's reality. Yeah. And these things are going to happen. I'm going to end up by saying this. And this is the bottom line, and I base mine on facts. Not what is in the media, not what is rumor mill, not what somebody calls me and tells me on the phone. I go by facts. That's all we do. And I've looked at the numbers. And the numbers are extremely low. And I'm basing it on what I know about Richmond County. I wish I had brought numbers from Columbus, Macon, and Savannah. And y'all would be upset. With the second largest city in the state of Georgia, what do you think is going to happen? Things are going to happen. What do you think's happening in the largest city in Georgia? Now, they have some numbers. They scared me because I went over some of them. And bottom line on everything I've said, my opinion does not mean a thing. You make your own opinion up. You make your own decision on what you're going to do about the future of First Friday. That's not my decision. Number one, if we get in there and we work together and put somebody in charge and these things are done, First Friday will be fine. Let me have them after 10 o'clock. They belong to me. Quit blaming First Friday up to 10 o'clock. Blame me after 10 o'clock. And we're going to break it up once we get rules down there and we know everybody's gone, the law-abiding citizens, vendors, they're gone. That other group that comes down there, they belong to me. And then I'll bottom line for everybody, downtown is not a dangerous place. And if I didn't convince you tonight, so be it. Y'all take away from here what you want to. You can be a naysayer and call me tomorrow and say, how do you mess those finagle with those figures or whatever you want to do. Won't bother me one bit. But I have another one to go to, and that's why they let me jump up front. I didn't have answers to any of those three questions they were asking. Thank God they didn't ask me any of them. But I appreciate you folks. Y'all are a great community, and I've been so fortunate to be sheriff for you folks. Thank y'all very much.
Remember who this event is for, and this event is to bring businesses and to show some art to the community, but to help the businesses that are open on First Friday, and we're going to be very respectful of that.
Thank you. David?
The Convention and Visitors Bureau has no plan to change how they support First Friday. It is a great event. Since the beginning of the year, we planned for the October First Friday to bring in meeting planners who want to get a look inside the Tea Center, as well as travel writers. These are people who write for publications and they write stories about cities like Augusta. We are still going forward with that event in the First Friday in October.
I don't have anything to elaborate. I would just definitely say keeping First Friday is a positive thing. Deciding to remove it from downtown aesthetic, I think it's perhaps a 10-year step back, maybe even further. And I'll reiterate again, it's a matter of who we're looking to become in downtown. There's a lot of perhaps disconcerted groups that communication may be helpful. And thank you for the explanation of exactly what it is, but that's all I have.
Well, just to address on the youth again, you know, you think about First Friday, it might be that collective thing that keeps them out of trouble elsewhere. But we need to provide something that's positive, that's relevant to them during the time limits that we have. You know, so it doesn't cause an incident. We had an event at May Park last Friday without no incident at all. So we need to look at some venues, something that's going to bring positive presence to our community, and will instill, encourage our kids, you know, to do the right thing. So it's not just the adults doing their thing. It should be something in that positive instead of them just walking the streets.
We've mentioned a little structure, and we talked about continued safety. I think one of the biggest things, in addition to those two things we can do, is actually find a way, to have a complete streetscape of downtown, to redo our downtown, and I think that would be a tremendous help to, not just First Friday, to all of downtown.
Show up for the next First Friday.
Yeah.
Amen.
Plain and simple. And you can talk for 2 hours about how much you love First Friday, and it will get cherry-picked down to 2 seconds about you seemingly saying that you hate it. Talk is cheap. Just put your money where your mouth is, literally, and just show up. We need you. We don't want to be anywhere else other than downtown. We love our downtown area, and we want you to love it too. And there's so much to love, and it's only getting better. So just show up and bring a friend, and we're open for business and can't wait to see you.
Instead of belaboring that, I'm going to ask each of you to individually just thank our panelists tonight as they leave. Before we leave, Fred Russell's going to give them a charge. But I will say, if he comes up, there's a couple of things that stood out tonight. And what we would like to do is have you fill out cards in the back when you heard something you liked, if you heard something you did not like, if you have your own ideas that may be different, or something new and innovative, please write them down, because this group is going to meet again. Fred's getting ready to give them a charge so that they can meet, continue this dialogue to develop an action plan. So in order for them to do their jobs effectively, they do need your input. We can't do a question and answer because we'll be here past midnight. But we do have plenty of pens, paper, and a box in the back for you to put down your suggestions. So I beg you, if you've got something to say, please write it down so this group can use it. There were a lot of things that were mentioned tonight, and we were very fortunate to have Margaret try to capture all of it so that they'll have something to work from. But what I would say is I did hear 3 things that really kind of sum up not only economic development, but they sum up quality of life. And that's people, money in the way of investment and economic development, and safety. Those 3 things came through very loud and clear, and they came through in multiple ways. And that, I think that if you go back, you could probably place everything up there under one of those.
AnibalShow.com. AnibalShow.com.